Welcome to my house.
It's good coffee. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the House of BTS, the house that goes beyond the supernatural. I am your host, Steve Dawes. As promised, I'm starting a series of Q&As and clarification videos in the House of BTS, and for my first one, well, it's a doozy. I wanted to present a big correction to one of the rules that just about makes everyone's head explode with glee as you're about to drop a hurtin' bomb on your enemy, that lovely natural 20. And I am happy to say that while that feeling is the correct way to feel, the way you've been delivering that damage has probably been correct. In fact, until I'd learned the correct way while working on a Q&A for the upcoming Creature Features source book, I'd realized that I'd been doing it incorrectly for about the past 30 years. And it's no one's fault, of course. This was really just it was for the most part not really brought up in the books. For example, if you take it to page 162 of your BTS book, Critical Strike, all it really says on it is a powerful, special, or nerve-shattering strike that inflicts double the usual amount of damage. Critical strike damage can be inflicted with bare hands or with a weapon, and that's really all there is to say on that. And I think most other books that I've looked through have said the same thing. Well, the way I used to do it, and the way you've probably been doing it, is that you add up all the damage rolled from the dice and any weapon or strength bonuses that you have, and you double that number. And well, that method is incorrect, and I'm about to tell you how you should be doing it. So, going with an example, let's say Joe the Investigator has a baseball bat, which does 1d8 damage, and he has a +3 damage bonus due to his strength, and Joe just rolled a critical strike. So how this works is, and what the double damage means, is that you double the amount of dice of the weapon itself. So Joe, he rolls 2 8-sided dice, or 2d8, and he adds his damage bonus to this number for the amount. So, for example, I have in my filthy mitts here 2d8 myself, so if he rolled that critical strike, altogether, I have a 5 and a 3 for 8 damage, and then you would add in the +3 damage bonus altogether for 11. And that is the critical strike roll. And also note that weapons that have a damage bonus, like a claw hammer, which does 1d6 +2, you would only double the dice rolled, not that +2. So, for example, with Joe again, if he were to get a critical strike with a clawed hammer, he would roll 2d6, and then once that's been figured out, he would add a +2 for the claw hammer itself, and +3 for his damage bonus. So, and as you might be thinking, the damage doesn't sound quite as high as it did with the old method, and you're more than likely, I would say you're right with that. But on the other hand, this rule also applies to your opponents. And as BTS characters are a pretty squishy people, this is actually pretty good news for you. Under the old rules, a critical strike from a strong supernatural being is usually a life-threatening attack, and unless you roll a natural 20 back, there's really no way for you to do anything about it. And it is a life-threatening attack with some of the with some of those like really strong creatures in particular, is doubling the amount of dice and doubling the amount of damage bonuses and such was usually a pretty life-threatening attack. And I have seen at least a character or two just perish from a really high, just a really high damaging lethal hit. So, the way it's done now it works a lot kinder on your characters. So, you may not be hitting as hard with lethal strikes under the way you should be doing it, but neither does the enemy. So there is some fairness to that. And so, I feel this is a pretty big correction in my book. Again, I've been doing it this way for 30 years, so I encourage you to share this video with all of your Palladium pals, and so you can all get on the same page as far as how the critical strike should be working. And I have more Q&A and clarifications coming here in the House of BTS, so I encourage you to subscribe to my channel to get the notifications. And on a side note, I have a few house rules that you can look up on the fan site that goes into combat and critical hits that I plan to go over in future videos, but if you don't feel like waiting for that, you can head over to the website now and read it all for yourself if you like, specifically in the house rules section. I thank you for visiting the House of BTS, and farewell until we meet again.